Hello crafters, this is Yana Smakula. Welcome back for another video on my YouTube channel and blog. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to use your dye ink pads to create beautiful abstract backgrounds in a matter of minutes. This really is one of the easiest ways to create a colorful background for a handmade card without much effort or specialty supplies. You can use your full-size or mini-size ink pads, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you pick the colors of ink that go well together and when applied over each other won't produce mud or brown colors. Unless, of course, this is what you want. Let me show you. I have started with a dark pink ink pad first, and all I'm doing here is simply rubbing it over my background. This is Nina Solar White 80-pound cardstock. I'm not touching the entire ink pad to the surface of my paper. Rather, I'm holding the ink pad at a slight angle and touching only the edge of the pad to the paper, dragging it to have some of the ink from the ink pad transfer onto the paper to create an abstract-looking background. The key here, like I mentioned, is using colors of ink that go well together. Here, I'm using 2 shades of pink, 2 shades of yellow, and also 2 shades of blue ink for the background. Yellow, pink, and blue work well together. When you blend yellow and pink, you have orange. When you blend yellow and blue, you have green. When you blend pink and blue, you have purple. So no matter how you blend these colors or layer them, you will always have pretty result in the end. So keep that in mind when you choose the colors of ink for your background. As soon as I apply the ink to the background, it looks very vibrant and also the ink looks somewhat splotchy. Now, this is the nature of the kind of ink that I'm using. But once the ink dries, the colors will soften up a little bit and the print will look much better. So be sure to set your background aside for a few minutes to give the ink enough time to absorb into the paper. Let's try this one more time. I'm using exact same ink colors, but I'm going to try and apply them in a slightly different order and have a slightly different placement. It's actually impossible to create 2 identical backgrounds using this technique. The purpose, I think, is to have fun and use your supplies in a different, non-conventional way. Like I mentioned, these are inks by Simon Says Stamp, but similar formula inks from other companies will work just as well for this. Think dye inks or hybrid inks from Hero Arts, W+9, Jane Davenport inks from Spellbinders, Lawn Fawn inks, and other inks as well. The ink colors, in case you're curious, are Audrey Blue, Malibu, Duckling, Sunshine, Hollyhock, and Rosy Cheeks, and all of these are linked in the video description below, as well as other supplies that I'm using today. I wanted to make very simple yet colorful birthday cards to replenish my birthday cards stash, so I decided I would stamp and heat emboss some fun and quirky messages on these backgrounds using new big birthday greetings stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. I did give my backgrounds plenty of time to dry as, like I said, I wanted to do heat embossing. And I needed to make sure that the ink on the background was dry and it wasn't going to mess up my heat embossed images. I stamped "Whoa, You're Old" in black ink and next stamped 3 candles in clear embossing ink, covered them with antique gold embossing powder from Simon Says Stamp, and heat set to melt the powder. For the next card, I heat embossed the main sentiment that reads, "Let us celebrate your existence by showering you with gifts and cards," and then stamped "and maybe cake" in black ink. To turn these into cards, I trimmed these backgrounds and foam mounted them on A2 white card bases. The one with the candles was also colored using a white pen. I added some simple coloring to the candle images. I also cut this background apart into 3 pieces and foam mounted each of the pieces onto the card base. Doesn't this look like loads of fun? And seriously, these backgrounds could not be easier to make. Just pick the right colors and swipe away. I hope you'll give this idea a try. If you do, share online and tag me. I always love seeing what you guys are making. Subscribe now not to miss any new card making tutorials. Love you guys. I'll see you next week.